forward to this one?
Yeah, definitely. I feel pretty good. I think that where I'm at in my training is, I feel like it's time. So I feel really good.
Okay, you feel it's time. What's it time for, Christian?
Just whatever you got, let's see it. Just push all your chips in the middle of the table, and it's time to go forward.
There's only 5 guys in the world this year that have run under that 10-second barrier so far. And you know what track and field fans are like, Christian. They get a bit twitchy. There's been a lot of talk in your men's 100-metre event this year. Are our fans expecting too much in the 3rd week of May?
No, I don't think so. I think that, I don't know, I think that just goes to show the level of talent that, we have in the sport right now, just because people have, seen flashes of greatness and just know the potential of a lot of the, athletes competing today. And, I don't know, I had the same expectations for myself, but, as an athlete, your process is just a little bit different than what a fan or supporter's perspective would be. So I think for us, it's just like, just competing and trying to go out there and put together good races and win, and then just letting the time just come when they're supposed to. So I think that's my process. That's the goal for me. I can't get too caught up in what the outside is talking about.
And how have things been between that indoor season and then coming outdoors again? What have you guys done? I'm going to ask Grant the same question. You're coming off the back of when you do some indoor races. What does the process look like in Olympic year in particular between March and now?
I think for me, even going through fall training and tapering off a little bit for the indoor season, I think that the whole goal was to try to be at my best when I need to in June and July. And so, we try to keep that in mind as we're going through the indoor season, but, obviously use a, world title on the line. So, we did, blocks and sprint work to try to be as good as we can from that. And then just, immediately after the indoor season, took a small break to let the body recover, and then just kind of went back into a little bit of a load in base training. And, like I said, I feel like it's time now to just, start to let things unfold. And, I don't know, I feel like I've trusted my coach to put together a good plan, and we've done that, and so I feel good about where I'm at right now.
Good to hear. And Melissa, in the centre there, how you doing? Good start to the season yourself. What you're hoping Pre's going to deliver for you tomorrow in an absolutely loaded race with the, obviously, Olympic and world champion due to be in there. What are you looking forward to about it?
I think the thing that I'm most looking forward to is to just focus on what it is that I need to execute in order to win. And, like you said, it is a very loaded and stacked field. I train with the world champion, also along with TT Terry as well. So, we bring that atmosphere of it being championship felt, I would say, on a day-to-day basis. So it's nothing that that I'm not used to, or that I'm not ready for as well. So I'm definitely excited just to be here and to be in this race and to be able to compete the way I know I can.
You've mentioned your training partners there. For those that don't know, give us a quick roundup of where you're at with that big decision you made in your coaching setup and the changes that you've made for this season.
Yes, so last year definitely was my first year being a professional athlete. And it came with a lot of, things that I wasn't necessarily used to doing. Basically, every decision that you make falls on your own. So whatever you decide to do, you have to be able to live with those decisions. And we got to the end of the year last year, and it was just a conversation that needed to be had. Was it time for me to leave my collegiate coach? And of course, it was not an easy decision to make. However, because I had ran fast with him before, and so it was now a conversation of, okay, how do I get me to the next level? And there's something that he's always told me, and that it was, each time you get to a higher level in this sport, you're going to have to make more sacrifices. And so this time around, it was a sacrifice of leaving him in order to put myself in a better position to be able to come out here and do the things that I know I can do. And so when it came time to make that decision, although it was hard, I knew that it was necessary. And I just told myself, once you make this decision, you better work your butt off because you got to make it look like you're not crazy. You got to make sure that, you know, everybody who may have had doubts about who I am or what I'm capable of, I shut them up. And so I feel like I've done a pretty good job of that so far, and it's just a matter of now putting it all together so that I'll be able to make this Olympic team, my first Olympic team, and just, you know, come out here, have fun, and be competitive at all times.
And you love racing at Eugene. If you look at your top 10 PR times, I think at least 7 of them have been set at Hayward Field. So you know the track well. You're training with some of the hot competitors that are going to be in that race. You mentioned you've got to execute your race properly tomorrow. Which part in particular have you been working on this season, Melissa, that's going to take you down into that 10-9s, 10-8s? Which part in particular?
I think for me, the biggest thing has been being consistent with my transition. However, these last 2 races I've had, I can't seem to react to the gun for whatever that is. So I think tomorrow, if I start there with just reacting, then, you know, the rest will set itself up, and then I'll be pretty happy with the outcome and the result.
Talking of pretty happy with outcomes, Grant Holloway on the end there. Are you okay?
I am fantastic. It's a beautiful Friday. Ain't got no kids. The AC's blowing.
Are you getting ready for the fans to throw you?
Exactly.
You want the fans to throw you the beer, you want a little posh red wine maybe thrown down from the stands as well. You're in a good place, my friend. A little headwinds run, a little 13-2. Sum up that race for us. Where's it showing us where Grant Holloway is, that run that you had?
It's early. To sit up here with teammates, Christian being a role model and mentor to me, I think he hit the nail right on the head. It's early May, but now we're starting to get to a point where we have to ramp up. We have to start showing a little bit more fitness. We have to start, I guess, racing. You know, for me, I've never been scared of competition. I've never really, I guess, faltered from early comps. Obviously, this year I took a little bit of time off, obviously, with the big dance in about 10 weeks. But I think what we, as a track and field community, what we fail to see is Team USA and other places, we have this thing called Olympic trials. So we're getting so caught up on competitions, we're getting so caught up on, I guess, a particular track meet, that in 5 weeks we all have to sharpen our knives and go to war at Olympic trials. So I was talking with a couple friends, and I said, regardless of whoever's in the race, if they're not American, I can care less about them. You know, my goal is to, you know, make this team obviously win, but I know the rules and the regulations is top 3, so that's all I'm doing. I just want to be able just to put myself in a situation that I've done for the past, 4 or 5 years now, and be able just to represent Team USA on that stage, and you know, whatever the outcome is, that's, you know, let the outcome be. But my goal is to continue to be the top American and then be ready for the big dance in 10 weeks.
Remind us, guys, how do you change anything in Olympic year because it is the big OG in terms of how you prepare? Do you manage niggles differently? Do you schedule your training differently? Because it is those, and you have to peak twice, as you say, because so many of your individual events have such depth. Do you change anything, Grant, with it being an Olympic year rather than a World Championship year?
I think, for myself, I won't speak for Christian and Melissa, but I think we put our faith in our coach. We trust and believe, and we instill, you know, hope in them that they're able to make those executive decisions for us. We try to make it as simplistic as possible, just allowing us just to show up at practice, punch the clock, punch it back out, and then obviously showing up at track meets. We'll leave the planning, we'll leave the scheduling, we'll leave the, I guess, the quote-unquote taper towards them. I think our job is just to be able just to show up. I kind of thinking of the analogy as in, I'm going to let you plan how you want to rob the bank, and I'm just going to walk in, grab the money bags, and walk out.
So
I think it was that funny, but all right.
So while Grant's robbing a bank, Christian, what about you? Do you literally do as Grant said? Do you leave it into the hands of your coach and say, listen, what coach says goes? Or have you catered anything for Olympic year to try and get that ready for Paris?
No, I think he hit it right on. I think, you know, we're athletes, so that's just what our focus has to be, is just being an athlete. And, you know, like, you got to let your coach be your coach. And but to me, it's no different than any other year. Like, you know, it's just the outside expectations and like what's at stake. Obviously, is a lot grander and, you know, a lot bigger. But as far as like the process, I think I keep the same level of intensity. You know what I'm saying? Year in, year out, like just like it was any other year. Like going into each practice, each rep, just trying to improve and keep getting better and do as well as I can, like each time, and just controlling what I can, and then, you know, just put myself in the best possible situation to win, and you know, let the chips fall where they may.
It sounds like, Melissa, that every American athlete who's in a really in-depth event before the trials, as they're moving up, as Grant alluded to, just has the US Championships on their mind, first and foremost. Do you literally think about it all the time in this 4-week countdown now?
I would say yes and no. I try to keep everything balanced because, you know, you never want to just hound in on one specific thing because that's when things start to go wrong, at least for me. And so I just really have been taking this year as a whole in general. Like I have this saying, I'd say one day, one meet, and one practice at a time. And that's literally what I've been doing, and so far it's been working for me, so why switch it up?
You're away with the fairies, as we say in England then, Grant. What were you thinking about? You were miles away then. Where's your mind?
Yeah, don't ask me that. I don't know where I was.
You know, I'm going to ask you though.
ADHD just was winning. I don't know where we were going. We were just, we were off into yonder.
I know what I'm going to ask you though. There's been a lot of talk about world records, folks, hasn't there, in some events this year, but I'm not going to ask Christian about that. I'm going to ask you, Grant, because I remember coming to Pre years ago and I was always asking David Oliver about this men's high hurdle world record, this Aries Merrick 1280, because he came so close, one of the fastest of all time. You are so close to the 1281, right? You want the big G in Paris for the collection, for the Holloway home, but if you had to choose one, what would you take this year, the Olympic gold or the world record? You can only choose one.
You answer that one for me. I think that's a no-brainer.
No, I'm interested, and I'll tell you why afterwards. You have to choose one.
Honestly, for me, I would love to have the gold. Records are meant to be broken. Obviously, this past year with Cordell Titch turning pro, he broke the collegiate record. Like that's why records are there. It drives people. It gives people passion. It gives people a reason to work hard. It gives a reason for them to show up to the track, maybe to do that extra rep, maybe to go in the weight room and do that extra pull-up. For me, once you have the medal, you can't take it away. I mean, obviously you can take it away for other reasons, but you can't take it away. But for me, it's just one of the things where I like the grind, I like the grit. Day in and day out, I think I'm probably one of the hardest workers here in track and field. I think I put myself in a situation every year to contend for a gold medal, and that's what I want to do until I decide to, go on from the sport. I think the gold medal just speaks volume, and then, like you said, out of all the people in the world, you're that one to, have that gold medal.
The reason why I asked you that is that I asked Jonathan Edwards, the men's triple jump world record holder, the same question on stage a few years ago, and he has both, admittedly. But I asked him, I said, if you had to choose between your triple jump world record and your Olympic gold, which would you choose? He chose the world record, much to the surprise of the crowd, because he wanted to be known as the best of all time.
That makes sense. I mean, for me, I have the indoor record. I think everybody's a little bit numb to that now. I think it's to the point where I get on the track and everybody's expecting this performance. I'm there. I'm physically fit. I know what it takes. But with track and field, I think we get so caught up on running fast every single week. I think that's the problem. Not only track and field fans run into, but just everybody. Even I'm victim to it as an athlete. When I get on the track, I'm ready to run 12.7, 12.6, 12.5, whatever it takes, instead of thinking, okay, I'm in this race, let me just get to the finish line before. If it says 13.6, hey, we won the race with 13.6, let's double back, get back to the drawing boards and do it again. There's an old Kobe Bryant saying when he says, when you start doubting yourself about failure, it's pointless because you're going to fail at some point. He said, if you win the race, cool. It makes the process a little bit fun. But if you lose, yes, it sucks, but you have to show up to practice on Monday and do the same thing over again.
The process guys, isn't it? The process of the building blocks in such a big year. Let's open it up to you guys then. Is there any individual questions? Let's go on the second row.
Yes, hi. My question is for Christian. This is Serenity Douglas over here. Hey. So the level of experience that you have, I feel like you're considered a vet now. Not necessarily because of age, but more so on experience. You've competed against the college phenoms all the way up to Usain Bolt. So I would love to hear how the level of competition has just changed over the years from what you've seen.
I think that I think track and field is in as good a place as it's ever been, like talent-wise. I think if you look at any other sport like basketball, football, baseball, it's just like the type of athletes that what we're seeing across the board, just in general, like the average athlete is just like superior than what we were seeing in the '90s and the early 2000s and whatever. Now, I think it's the same thing with track and field, and I think it's just I don't know. It's a lot of guys that are capable of winning. I feel like that's what makes it exciting. You have like the parity in it. But I think across the board, just the collection of talent is as good a place as it's ever been in every single event. And I think that I don't know, that makes me a fan of it because it's just like just the level of talent that we're seeing and the greatness that we're seeing week in and week out is really exciting.
All right, this
Yeah, before we go to that side, this one, yeah.
question for Christian. I think Grant hit it right on the docket when he said process. There's a process when it comes to training and running. Obviously, I'm sure you guys are sick and tired of hearing a high schooler running faster than you guys right now in the 100 meters. What's your process and how do you go about it, just trying to run? Because we're greedy as fans. We want to see fast times, but what's your process and how you want to end things out there?
Christian and Ford.
First of all, actually, never mind. But yeah, I think like what Grant said, like the process is just like I don't know, like that's just something you can't pay attention to. You know what I'm saying? The only thing I can say to that is like when it's time to line up, we'll see. That's it. And but I feel like it's just win or lose.